I think we're particularly drawn to characters who feel very complex and often contradictory, so that there's a lot to be excavated. And I think when we're looking for material, we're always looking for material that will allow us to explode, if you like, the surface and uncover this internal experience that we've been talking about. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons we've been so drawn to the novel, because I think one of the reasons that a novel can feel so rich is that we have this extraordinary privilege of feeling as though we are allowed to live inside the skin or see through the eyes of another person and know their deepest, most secret fears and longings. And I think that's one of the reasons the novel has been such rich pickings for us. And with adaptation, the challenge, I think, each time is to find the way of cracking the story open, of finding a device that will allow us to get at that internal experience. I mean, maybe there's something about the experience of the novelist sitting alone writing that, and the privacy of that is particularly useful to us with our fascination with subjective experience. I mean, Jane Eyre's an interesting example of somebody who embodies huge contradictions, and really that was what was at the heart of this adaptation, the possibility that you could see Bertha, the madwoman living in the attic, as expressing the part of Jane that has to be denied and repressed and hidden. Because on the surface, Jane appears to be this rather sensible, very rational, contained, controlled, and yet, because of this access that we have in the novel to her inner life, we know that beneath this there's another person who is full of passion and anger and, has a strong sexuality, all the things that are unallowed, that are unacceptable in a Victorian woman. And at the heart of the adaptation was this idea that we could use Bertha, we could use the madwoman to express everything that Jane herself was having to hide. So, for example, the novel begins, the very first page of the novel is about Jane sitting on a window seat in a part of the house. She's completely alone, and she's between the curtain and the window on a rainy day. And we're taken immediately into her private imaginings. She's reading a book, and from the book spring up all these thoughts about foreign lands. And in our adaptation of Jane Eyre, her imagination, as it starts to come to life, as she starts to imagine first this Arctic landscape, which feels a bit like Jane herself, very kind of rather frozen and stiff and cold. And then from underneath that, we get to another layer, if you like, of consciousness, and she starts to imagine a tropical land where there is warm rain and hurricanes and tidal waves and luscious fruit and flowers, and this other self, if you like, starts to emerge, which is both all the stuff inside her that's joyous and sensual, and the rage and the destructive part of her that's been hidden, because to let it be seen is too terrifying, too dangerous. And we see, first of all, so the beginning of our version of Jane Eyre is her opening this book, and we watch as this little girl in a flame dress creeps out from behind her and starts to eat tropical fruit and roll around in the warm sea and starts to dance. And we see this part of Jane, which is really her imagination, her inner life, start to come alive.
The vast sweep of the Arctic zone lies bare under frost and snow. These forsaken regions of dreary space are seldom seen by human eyes. The extreme cold and biting wind make uninhabitable this frozen waste.
The tropical clime of the West Indies has been described as a paradise on earth.
The sunshine and heavy rainfall give rise to abundant growth. Oranges and pineapples grow on the trees. Huge tropical flowers scent the air. The sea is warm as a bath, and the light golden day in, day out.